Hey guys, this is Jill. I'm back with another video, another page out of my notebook. I hope you're ready. I apologize. It's been about a week since I've last, told you a page out of my book. But I'm here to share some more with you today. I just had I was busy. I ain't gonna even sugarcoat. I was busy. However the case may be. Excuse my background if you see any. I am packing for vacation. So, just a little housekeeping, okay? If you hear any loud noises in the background, any distractions, I can't really help it, but I can try my best, okay? Because I live in an apartment complex and noises come from everywhere. But it's pretty quiet right about now, so we'll see. Now, I am going to share a time when I was homeless before transitioning to Texas. Now, mind you, I've never been homeless before, okay? I've always had a place to stay, whether it was when I stayed with my mom, my grandmom, when I stayed by myself, several years of that. But yeah, like when God transitioned me from Philadelphia to Houston, I was homeless. Not for too long, but I was, okay? When I first came to Houston, I had no plans. I had no strategic plans, okay? Nothing in mind. I didn't know anything. It was just like God told me to go and I went, you know what I mean? So I was to find out when I got here what was going to be the plan. So let me tell it. When I came here, I was going to, I had been studying the nomad life, that is always so exciting to watch on YouTube, watching how people live outside their cars, how they save a lot of money and things like that, because they eliminate a lot of bills, right? So that makes us dead crack broke most of the time, right? Because we live to pay bills nowadays, for a long time we have been. So now, I thought I was going to live in my car. I was going to find a job. And I was going to continue on with my career, and then whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? Set everything up like that. I want y'all to know it did not work out like that, right? So, now, I had met this guy, right, on a social media platform. And he was from Houston, but he was a truck driver, right? So he was telling me, all the great things about Houston, some foods that you can come and try, and what was good, what was not, what was a safe place to stay, what was not a safe place to stay, things of that sort. So now, he told me about this place called the Star of Hope, because I told him that I was going to live in my car. I'm like, the Star of Hope, what is that, I had no idea. Looked it up on Google. It gave me a little bit, but it didn't tell me much. It said a women's and children's center. A woman and children's center, right? So I said, a woman and children. I said, what is this, a shelter? You know what I mean? I said, I don't need no shelter. I'm gonna stay in my car. It's not like I got booted or kicked out or anything like that, I chose to live this life until I start all over again, right? So I already know what I had, in mind. I already know what my plans were. My plans. Keyword. Not God's plan, but mine. All right. So, hope you caught that. So I said, so now when I came here, I came with my grandson. And I passed him off to my son. So now for a couple of days, I had stayed in a hotel, right? So that got tired. I was like, I can't afford that, like I only had a certain amount of funds. Now let me tell, I was going to have like 5,000, 10,000 before I moved so I could be comfortable, right? But God was like, no, you're not going to be comfortable. You're going to depend on me and let me guide you and lead you, and I'll take care of you along the way. So I said, okay, God, I'm going to allow you to do this. I'm going to trust that you had my back. The only one I can trust, honestly. Okay, so now I listened to this guy tell me about the Star of Hope. I had no idea what Star of Hope was. So I look online. I found the address. I said, well, for me to, live in my car, I gotta have, keep gas. Excuse me, guys. I just got off of work not too long ago. I have to keep gas in my car, keep it running. That's going to cause necessary issues along the way, right? So I took this guy up. Now, mind you, I didn't know him very long. It was almost as if God had placed him in my life for a season, temporary, it wasn't even for a whole season, very temporary, just to tell me the information that he had to tell me to help to guide me and navigate Texas, right? Right. So, the Star of Hope. I went and scouted the Star of Hope. It was about an hour drive from where I was because I don't drive on them highways. Mind you, the highways here in Houston are crazy ridiculous. Like, I still do not drive on the highways in Texas. I have not. I want to learn and have the oomph to. However, sometimes I have this thing what you call anxiety, and it like skyrockets through the roof. Okay, so I don't always trust it. People drive completely different than people in Philadelphia, even though people in Philadelphia drive crazy, but we definitely know how to drive in the city. You know what I mean? So neither here nor there. I go to the Star of Hope like at night, and I inquire from somebody I seen walking on the premises. I said, can you tell me what are the qualifications to get here? She said, you got to come real early in the morning, and you got to be the first in so you can, so you can get in. I said, wow. So it's like first come, first serve, of course. However, it's like you might not even get in type of thing, right? So I was like, okay, all right. Now, I went to a Walmart because Walmarts cater to travelers, right? So it's always safe to go to a Walmart when you're traveling to different states or state to state because they do not mind you parking in their parking lot. I mean, you'll see trailers, RVs, you'll see trucks, 18-wheelers, you'll see all kinds of cars, people that's resting, and they can rest in a safe spot, a safe place, knowing that they're not going to be bothered, or tampered with, right? So now, of course, you keep your blinders on at all times, all right? However, I felt pretty safe, and that's like the whole system that I used in the resource to get here. Was like everywhere I stopped, when I would stop because I didn't drive at night, I can't see a thing. So when I would drive during the day, I would only drive during the day, and I would only stop at Walmarts. Okay, all right, unless I was getting gas or something like that. Okay, so now, I go to a Walmart and I sleep in my car, the nomad thing, and I sleep there overnight. My son don't know where I'm at, okay? Like, we separated, this happened on a Sunday. So I went there on a Monday because I remember specifically, Sunday, Melvin had went to church and Isaiah went to church. So now I was by myself. So I decided I didn't come to Houston to like stay together the whole time with my son because he had his own mission and journey, and so did I. So I knew that it wasn't something that we didn't come here together. So I didn't depend on him to be here. I had to depend on who? My almighty Father, excuse me. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So that's what I did. Okay. So I prayed. I said, okay, God, I believe this is where you want me to go. You put this person here to tell me about this. So I'm going to do it and see what happens. Okay. So I get to the Star of Hope. They had so many rules and stipulations. They told me I had to, if my car was parked in their parking lot, I had to have insurance, registration, license, all of that, which I did have, right? Also, they said that I couldn't take any pictures. They had like a whole list of rules, right? The curfew was at 9 o'clock. The first week that I was there, I wouldn't have any classes and I could not have a job. So they took care of all your needs because they wanted you to participate in their program. So I said, okay, all right, I'm going to try it. Mind you, I am so icky about sleeping in beds, and I'm icky about hotel beds, 5 stars. So mind you, I was very, very scared about sleeping in a bed that somebody else that was homeless slept in. I had to humble myself though. Humility is something else. Okay? Let me be the one to tell you. Humility, God is looking for humility in your life. When you think you're living on top of the world, because let me tell you, honey, I never wanted or needed really for anything. And if I did, that's because I was a spoiled behind person, okay? And I was used to getting what I want, right? Tell me no. First of all, I don't tell myself no. I never depended on people to get things for me. Now, if my, family or my parents bought things for me, then that's different. I'd be like, yeah, they know what I like. I like nice stuff. I got nice taste. And it's nothing wrong with that, right? However, you should not idolize it, okay? All right. Now, let me tell it I wasn't idolizing, but let God tell it I was, because he humbled me real fast, okay? Now, I said, all right. I'm going to go to this place and I'm going to see what it's about. Maybe God got something that he wants me to learn while I'm here. And this is my first stop. Okay. So, y'all, it gets crazy. All right. Okay, so now there's that noise again. Okay, so that morning, I go to the Star of Hope. I want to say like 7 o'clock I was there in the morning, okay? And I went through the process, okay? And then I had to wait. I got accepted into the program. Yay for me, okay? They ask you all of these questions. Did I have anybody looking for me? Was I in an abusive relationship? Any of those type of things, right? Ooh, because people that, it was a lot of people there that were like in abusive relationships, or they might have been hiding, so you couldn't take pictures or anything because they never know where your pictures might go. Your pictures might go on social media and then someone sees it and be like, oh, that's where they are. Okay, well, let me find them, that type of thing. So I didn't want any of that to happen on my account, right? And so I said, okay, I abide by all the rules, right? I signed my signature that was saying that I would do whatever they wanted me to do. Okay. They give you this big, like a big container on wheels to like put all your stuff in at one time, so you don't got to be going back and forth, right? And you got to go through security, okay? Make sure you don't have any contraband, all right? I'm talking about you couldn't even take a bottle of water in there. You could take gallons of water that was sealed, closed, but you could not take like a bottle of water that you buy from the store. You could not take them in there. You could drink them outside. If they gave you a water, it was okay to drink it, a bottle of water. However, they did not give out bottles of water, not frequently. Only if you were going on an outing, because it's very, very hot here and they want you to stay hydrated. However, you can bring a gallon of water and you can have a cup and you can fill it up like that. However, when you come through security, every time you come through security, you got to empty all your drink out your cup, okay? A nuisance. Anyway, you got to abide by their rules. Yeah, like I said, you couldn't get a job at all. If they find out that you have a job, you're getting kicked out, okay? You're getting kicked out. And people there do snitch. Oh, I seen so-and-so driving Uber or doing this and that. They snitch. You would think, grown people, okay? Snitching. Snitches get stitches from where I come from. However, okay. So now, my first day there, I go in there, I don't know what to expect. It's like this big room. It reminds you of like a jail that has pods. Now, you can upgrade once you went to the next level, okay? But while you were just like for the first 30 days, it was this program that you had to take. And it was basically like to see, how you would do. Would you abide by the rules and things of that sort? Now, if you completed this program in 30 days, I don't know if I remember the name of the program. It was called, I can't remember. But it was like a pathways to something program, right? First 30 days, you had to go to extensive classes all day long until like 3:00. And then you can wind down. If you had outdoor access, then you could go out there. If people smoked, they had to go to the smoking section. They could smoke in the little smoking sections in the back too. However, it was not indoors. Everything was outdoors, and it was really pretty there. But they were very, very strict, very, very strict. Okay, and it was a couple staff members that used to be like participants in the program. Okay. They did everything they had to do. They graduated and they progressed. And I think like after a year or two, then you can work there or something like that if you want to. So yeah. So if I wanted to go work there now, I could. Right? All right. Mind you. So it was like one person that I had like instantly. She was like, "How you doing?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Come to find out, we just hit it off right from the spot, right from the start. That's my girl to this day, right? That's my girl. Shout out to D. Shout out to D. D introduced me to her whole family, and that's like the only family that I know here in Houston. Shout out to D. Donisha, that's my girl right there. My girl, 50 grand, baby. Yes. We don't talk every day, but we know we have a particular place in our hearts for each other, right? Okay. Very, very, that girl didn't know me from a can of spray paint. And yeah, she trusted me. And she just kept saying, like, I think you would do great, like meeting my mom, and like, you would really enjoy it. And I went and I met her sisters a couple times, and everybody is such wonderful people. Awesome. Like her nieces and nephews, and I became friends with her mom. So like we're cool friends. And so now her grandkids, they are amazing. Like, oh my God, such wonderful people, such great hospitality. They didn't know me from a can of spray paint, and they welcomed me straight on in. Like, you would have thought that I was their family. You know what I'm saying? Like, they definitely ride for their families, okay? Definitely ride for their families. So I was very honored and I was very privileged. Allow me to stay there and everything, but that's a little ahead. I ain't get that far yet. So now, I might have to break this up into 2 segments because it could get quite long. Okay. So now, okay. When I went, so I got introduced. Okay, I kept quiet. I, kept my peace. Was very quiet. You know what I mean? Just observing. So now I'm focused on this program, right? Pathways, 30 days. Pathways, 30 days. Okay. This is to see if you got what it takes, because you could stay there for up to a year. Okay. You can apply for housing, do all of, people got different reasons why they're there, right? But everybody has a common denominator of a reason, and that's because you're homeless, okay? You don't have any place that has your name signed on the dotted line, okay, to say that you are occupant at that place, okay? So, I don't know anything about Houston or Texas at the time, so now they help you if you want to apply for food stamps, this, that. Everything, everybody comes to the building, so you don't really have to go out on your own much because they have all the help there. They have access for people that work for those other buildings or departments or facilities that you have to go to apply for certain things. It's a lot of resources there, right? Okay. So now they have this thing called Central Station, and that's where you go, where you get your deodorants, your toothbrushes, your whatever you need. They take care of you, right? You get 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, no snack. Can you believe it? Me, not eating a snack unless I bought it myself or bought it with a food stamp. But you can't bring it in the door because you can't bring no outside food past security. If you get caught, you know what's going to happen. You're going to get the boot. You're going to get the boot. Now, ask me, did we bring food in there? That's another story. However, I humbled myself. I wasn't upset. I wasn't pissed off that I was in this situation. I didn't understand what God was doing at the time, right? But I had like an aha moment, like an epiphany. Hello. Well, how can I help the people that I'm intended to help? How can I serve for the people that need help, God's children, if I ain't never been where they been? So he had to humble me. He stripped me of everything, mind you, moved me to a whole nother state where I knew nobody. I had none of my own resources, okay? Nobody I could call on to be like, hey, can I get $5, $10? Nobody, okay? Nobody. All I had was me and the Lord, okay? And whatever he directed in my path, that's all I had, okay? Talk about humility. I definitely humbled myself. One day, I called my Aunt Rose. Shout out to Auntie Rose. And I asked her to help me pay my phone bill. I was so scared because I never asked her to do anything like that before. I always had my own means to do whatever because I always worked. I went hard, I raised my children. I work hard. I always had a job. I don't got no problem getting a job. And it's going to be a good one. Okay? Because, listen, I asked Aunt Rose to help me, and she told me she would see what she could do, and she ended up helping me to pay my phone bill one time. And I'm so honored, and I'm so privileged, and I thank her so super much. Thank you, Auntie Rose. Again, seriously. So now, when I went to my first class, because remember I said I had a week off so you can get everything if you had to go to doctors, because you can't leave your program in order to go to these appointments. So also they had a health center there as well. I'm telling you, they help you get insurance, anything. everything. I'm talking about they really, really did their thing. And I met a lot of good people there, right? I was actually like, I always had a smile on my face. They had one side for family and one side for single. So, of course, I was on the single side because I was by myself, right? The family side was like a father and their children or a mother and their children, things like that. So they kept the family on one side and they kept the singles on another side, okay? Even when you ate in the cafeteria, it was that same thing, okay? You also had to have a job there, right? Which you got probably like 2 or 3 weeks later, maybe a month later. I worked in the, what did I do? Oh, I worked in a little kitchen and I like wiped the tables off in the kitchen, right? I used to be like, excuse me, it's time to stop eating. I got to do my job now because I got to get to class, okay? I felt like I was like in school all over again. It was so neat and cool though. I didn't like the food too much, so I lost extreme amounts of weight. I'm trying to tell you. I'm picky. I don't care what nobody say. I ain't eating stuff. I don't know what it is, what it look like, what's in it. I'm telling you, I lost a lot of weight. Probably like 20, 30 pounds. Seriously. Yes. So, it was real up in there, okay? Why I say that is because, let me just tell you this real quick. Listen. It was real up in there because we used to hide food in our clothes to get inside the building. Shh. Don't tell nobody. One time I went to this restaurant and I had some fried shrimp. I had fried fish. I had French fries. And I had it in like a styrofoam container. Child, if I ain't get some tissue and I kept baggies in my car, okay? Baggies were my best friend. Paper towel, my best friend. I rolled that joint up and stuffed it. What? And I always had my Spanx on. You know what that is, a girdle. Yes, I did. So I can hold that joint in place. I ain't gonna tell you how one time I went through the what you call it? I went through the metal detector. It kept alarming. I'm like, I don't have nothing on me. What is it? Maybe it's my wired bra. I don't know. But then they have to take you in the room and like really search you, right? I was like, let me go in the bathroom and see what's going on. Child, I had aluminum foil on my candy. It kept going off. I was like, shh, I had to throw it away. Because I did not have nothing to secure it on me. I'm telling you, it went down. Because after 5 o'clock, after that last meal, you starving. I'm telling you, you be real hungry. And you don't get no snack neither. And you can't bring no food in there. Oh, no. It goes down. And then you share with the people that you cool with. When you got stuff in there, yo, I felt like I was in jail. For real. I was in jail. I felt like I was in prison. How would you not? And it looked like a prison down the bottom part. But once you upgrade it, then it looked like dormitories like in college, right? So, all right. I ain't going to keep you too much longer. I'm going to have to split this in two. I'm going to tell you this one last part. Okay. So, this is the tearjerker for me, though. When I went to my first class, which was called Table Talk, and you went there every morning for 30 days, it was like the first class of the day. It was the class that would get you started, geared up, prayed up, for the whole entire day, okay? Can I tell you, when I went to Table Talk, they give you a paper and it'll be like, it could be a lesson on faith, right? Or hope, hopefulness, hope. I'm just naming a few, but we did them all, right? They gave you a brand new Bible. First time I ever been to a shelter / women's and children's center. And they gave you a brand new Bible. They gave you like a bag. I got a lot of great gifts from there. And they gave me, you open that Bible every day. You hear me? Every day. Because Table Talk was about opening up and telling your story, right? And let's say if the lesson was on faith, you would relate it to your life. Like, tell me something about, and it would have like questions on the paper, and you would have to answer all the questions, and it would have a scripture, and you would go to that scripture, and then you would break the scripture down, and you would explain it and tell it how it applies to your life every day for 30 days. That was the best thing ever. I was like, when I first went to this class, right? I literally cried. I cried. It like really hit home to me because I was like, God really wanted me to come here. I knew that God had put that man in place to talk to me on social media, to be from Houston, to tell me about the start of hope, to have me contemplate whether I was going to go there, to have me go there, stake out the place, go to the Walmart, spend the night in my car, and be hopeful about what Star Hope had. Can I tell you that when I got accepted into the program, I was the only one that got accepted in that day? Everybody, whether it was on a single side or the family side, one person from the family side got accepted, and I was the single person that got accepted that whole day. Everybody else got turned around, and you would have to try it again the next day, try it again the next day. It would be like family sitting outside with nowhere to go. We'd go get them food out of the building and bring it outside for them. It was crazy. It was so touching. It was so humbling. They had like a chapel. They have a chapel on campus that you would go to on Fridays, because on Sundays you could go to your church of choice. Everybody was in chapel and we were praising the Lord, and they always had like speakers. They had like a women's convention there where they would give us gifts and people would tell their stories. So now after the 30 days, you would have to choose another program, and that program would last, depending on what kind of program it was, it would last for a duration of whatever, 2 months or whatever months. So they had, I'm going to tell you real quick what they had. They had developmental, like, I didn't need that because I already had a college degree. I don't have no problem getting a job, and I don't have no problem keeping one. All right. Then they had, if you didn't have your GED, then you can do that, right? If you did not have your GED, you could not go to any other program until you get that GED. So the point of the program is to meet all of your needs while you're there and get all of the issues addressed so that you would not be a repeat recidivism, so you wouldn't be a repeated offender coming there again, right? Some people did have to come again. However, great program, but people didn't respect it a lot, because it just depends on your background. Me, I'm not saying that I'm super special, but I knew my reason for coming to Houston. It's because I was led by God to come to Houston. So I had a total different understanding of why I was there. Okay. And mind you, knowing that I came from not being homeless and things like that, but God had to strip me of everything to break me down so that he could build me back up to create me into what he needed me to be so that I could serve his people. That was my whole purpose, right? Yeah. But I literally cried going to Table Talk every day. I even went to Table Talk after I graduated. Let me tell you the last program that they had there. Biblical studies. And that's the class I took, period. It helped me to become an avid Bible reader. It helped me with so many things. It helped me to dig into my life, to dig into my world, to see what were some of my flaws, what were my accomplishments, and how was it going to navigate me through my life the next how many ever years. Stay tuned, because I will have a part 2 for you tomorrow, okay? Because I don't want to take too much of your time. But you don't want to miss it, because I'm sure that I can touch somebody. Because there's so many people out there that God put in position to help me. So now I have to help somebody else. And that's just a cycle. That's how life is. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I always talk about reciprocity. It's important. It's important. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed my content. I will be telling you more and more and more, okay? Another page out of my notebook, all right? Stay tuned, guys. Please, if you did please comment, subscribe, leave a message and tell me, have you ever been homeless? Have you? And if you have, did you overcome all your obstacles? What tools or what resources did you have in place that led you out of that, situation? And I will read it and I will reply. I thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.